So we've had one Feast of Prosperity. Well, what about Second Feast? The second annual feast starts on Tuesday. We'll talk about that and more on this episode of the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Our broadcast Astromech today is EPC 399. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi Seema, how's it going?
Oh, things are going really well. I've retained my focus on Renown, getting to like Renown 100 on all 8. And I have 3 left to do because I finished up 2 of them. My Jug, my Operative, and my Guardian. So I mentioned this last week, but I made a little chart for myself because these were all fairly low in Renown that I would have to get X number of levels for each one each week in order to get it done by the end of November. And I'm basically ahead by 2 or 3 weeks. So
nice.
And I'm having fun too because first of all, force sleep. So I got 2 characters that are just force sleeping all over the place. And then my Operative, she can't force sleep, but she can stealth. So I kind of have it worked out. So like my Operative, she gets her Renown levels for the week by doing Black Hole and Section X. And then if I still need more, I'll go do Yavin 4 or Ziost. But then my Guardian and my Jug can do things like, well, they can do all of it too, but that Section X is kind of a pain if you can't stealth. But then also I'll do, like if I don't feel like doing all of Oricon, I'll do 2 missions on Oricon because then you get the conquest target for doing 2 quests on Oricon, and then go back the next day or the day after and finish up the weekly. Because I don't have to do that many weeklies during the week because I just have 3 characters going now, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I'll have like time and energy left over to be a little bit more involved in Feast of Prosperity this time around, because last time around I did sort of all the quest once, and then I did some of the group stuff that we did as a guild, but I didn't really get into it last year, and I do want to get enough currency to buy the things that we're going to talk about later on. But yeah, so, and then double XP coming.
Right.
I wonder how that affects Renown too, I'm sure. I mean, yeah.
Usually, yeah.
Anyway.
Usually it's that too. Oh, you're going to be way ahead. Way ahead.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'll switch back over to my Merc and start working towards 999. But she's only in the mid 500s, so that's kind of a long-term goal, really.
Stretch. We call that a stretch. In the business, we call that a stretch goal.
Do we? Okay. So I also wanted to mention that on MFN this week, we went to Dantooine and we did some really, we did some cool achievements. We did them as a group. So it required some sort of epic level cat herding to get everyone to click things and then wait, and then the next person clicks and all that stuff. But we got some achievements there that I personally probably never would have gotten unless I got a bee in my bonnet to go get Dantooine achievements. But it was just really cool and fun. It was a very relaxing evening, and everyone got these achievements. And we did codex-based trivia. And since Zen was not there, wow, we were bad at it. We were pretty bad at the codex-based trivia.
Yeah, there was at least one of them that nobody got.
Yeah, yeah.
Zen.
We never heard the answer either.
Help us, Zen. You're our only hope.
Yeah. So basically Renown is my thing. And I also like doing it because it's a little bit like Total Galactic War, where I don't go through that sort of mental gyration of, well, I shouldn't do this on this character. I should do it on this other character because this character's already made their conquest target. I just do everything on the one character that I'm paying attention to that day because it's all Renown. Just like, and I think I'm sort of getting similar numbers of conquest points to the numbers that I made in the Total Galactic War week too. Just it's a lot of conquests. But anyway, enough about me. How's your week been, Max?
It has been good as well. I as you were talking about the Renown farming, it reminded me that I wanted to do a shout out to a couple people who replied to our video on YouTube and commented on that. In particular, a replier named Wargames said, "Speaking of leveling up Renown, was thinking about the new expansion on the rep side. Can now pick dark side," and asked, how what's a good way of leveling up dark side or dark side points, because we're going to need that if you've never gotten to dark 5 to be able
Mm-hmm.
to do the crossover. My key response on that, which I put there, but I figured I'd do a shout out here as well, was I've never played through enough of story of Darkside. So there's really two ways. One, you can make sure you're clicking on the commit to the dark side of the force, the new way of clicking on dark side. Then basically everything you do is giving you dark side points. But the real way is you have diplomacy,
Right.
and you have eight crew companions running 8 crew missions, all dark side missions on diplomacy, and just passively you'll get to dark 5 in no time.
Also, there's a setting, I think. I'm looking back, many years, but there's a setting that you can turn on that will show you before you hit a dialogue response whether it's going to give you dark side or light side points or no points.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you
Show
don't have that turned
conversation
on, it's worth it.
alignment gain is what that's
Yeah.
called. And then there's another person here, the Jude Abides is their name, that said, honestly, for farming Renown, you're right on about the doing the dailies, weeklies. However, CZ198 doesn't give a ton. I find
And
Osis
that's
gives the
true.
most, while Onderon and Ioketh also give quite a bit as well. But overall, just farming as
Yeah.
many dailies as you just can. So yeah,
The
that's
thing
nice.
about IOCAth too, I haven't done this yet, but and he's right, CZ198 doesn't give that much compared to the others. But a level of Renown is 160k points, and you get like 140 or 150 from CZ198. So it's almost a whole. Well, anyway, but one thing about IOCAF is the weekly for IOCAF is to do 10 missions, right? It's not to do particular ones. Like Section X, you have to
Right.
do, and Oricon, you have to do particular ones. But on IOCAF, you can just do a couple each day until you get it.
Yeah, like the
And
2 easiest 5 days in a row.
right, or there's one where you have to kill X number of this and X number of that, and it's just I keep meaning to do IOCAF, but I run out of week.
Right. And you got to remember to keep going back, instead of something like CZ198 where, in 15 minutes you can just go knock the whole thing out and you're done.
Well, sometimes what I do if I'm playing in the morning and it's coffee and contemplation and it's like 5 minutes till 8, which is reset time, I'll go to like Section X and do 2 missions, and then by the time I finish the weekly, I get the points for 2 missions completed, and then after 8 o'clock I do the rest of them, and I get the points for 2 missions completed again, and then for the weekly.
Yeah.
Max.
I've also been this week. Yeah, I had fun on Tuesday night, of course. My biggest task right now, we were talking about it in the pre-show, is cleanup of inventory on all my characters. I have saved just tons and tons of everything, just in case I ever wanted to like min-max, create a min-max armor set for whatever character. I have a workflow, but I've just like saved other stuff that I haven't unpacked yet. I have bank tabs full of Renown crates and things like that. I'm quickly escalating. Like each week, I escalate a little bit more my technique for cleaning it out, to the point where, by the time we hit November, it's going to be don't even look, just delete it. Don't even open it. Just delete, just delete everything. Whatever the fastest way to click on a thing and get rid of it. That's how I'll probably end up by the end. I am selling a bunch of stuff as well, continuing to clean out materials inventory. I noticed I still have a few hundred legendary embers, for example, that I need to do something with. But I'll be working on that for the next month as well. And then in spare time outside of Star Wars, I have been There are other worlds than these. Star Wars. There are other worlds than these. Roland Duchesne. That's a Dark Tower reference. And the other world that I've been spending some time in is the New World. So I was doing quite a bit of that for the launch of that, getting AIE Guild set up in New World, and we are almost full. The company size in New World is only 100, and we are already over 80. And I did not expect that at all. I expected like 12. I truly expected 12 or 15, and we are over 80. We might have to. I don't think long term we'll sustain that, but everybody just should try it out. And since there's no subscription and you just buy it once, right now everybody's trying it out. And that has been interesting. But that's what I've been doing. Let's see what the rest of the BioWare and industry has been doing.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
What do we got from BioWare this week, Seema?
So we did get a new blog post and this week, and this one is from a Jedi Master who has been sent on a mission to Elam, which is a planet that we'll see in 7.0. And I believe that's where the Flashpoint is going to be set.
And how did they find Elam? Didn't they track to Elam somehow?
So Malgus, you may remember, went to Dantooine and stole a relic. Well, I mean, or recovered a relic, however you look at it. And they don't know, they didn't really know anything. So this Jedi team there was like, what is this relic? And they looked at their records and they could see what it was, but they didn't have any notes in their history notes that tell them why that relic would be relevant to anything or why someone like Darth Malgus would want it. So as you do, they were analyzing the dirt and debris that was around the relic, and they
smelled an interesting smell, didn't they?
They found that it matched.
They smelled a musk, and they realized it was an
God.
Elam musk, and that's how they found it. That
exactly how it went.
Okay.
They looked at. They saw
finish.
that this dirt matched the same qualities of a report about dirt that they had that was from this planet Elam. So they sent this mission off to Elam to sort of try and figure out what Malgus might be after, or what he might be putting together, or what the secret is. And the sort of theory is that Malgus would have gone there too to figure it all out. And so Elam is this place that is sort of technically in the Sith Empire, but I think the Sith occupation of Elam is meant to have been in the past. So it may not be like an active Sith hub right now, but this team goes there, studies the planet, comes back with some information about how the planet is. They haven't really found out what they need to find out about the relic. I think that's going to be up to us when we go. But it does give a very nice picture of the planet. So it's worth reading just for that. The description of it. It's hard packed sand and dark stone, and it has like this red grass. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be pretty striking.
At least one local predator, the Raphinx, a large
which is
feline
a
hunter,
feline, yeah. So it's going to be a
in
cat.
thick fur. Oh, nice. So I have not heard of a Raphinx before. Has that shown up in Star Wars lore before? Hey, any of our lore experts, have you guys heard of a Raphinx before, and you're all excited about it, or are they authoring new lore right away? Let's do no, it is a Star Wars thing. Raphinx was a large feline predator native to Elam. This is a thing. It was mentioned in the book Spectre of the Past, as was the planet Elam. And it was written up in Creatures of the Galaxy. So it has appeared in lore. It is legends. It is not canon. But the Raphinx is a known creature. Cool. So yeah, that's interesting. Anything else on that before we talk about the rest of the
Nope.
news? All right.
Let's move along.
Also in the news, as we predicted, exactly as we predicted, pretty much as soon as this show is done recording, the PTS is going to get updated with, you guessed it, Mercenary and Commando and Power Tech and Vanguard combat styles. And guess what? Next week, we predicted we won't be able to talk about it because next week we have a very
Because we're doing
special episode.
our own thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got episode 400 coming up, and we've been cajoled into ensuring that we don't forget about it. So we really appreciate the people that have reminded us that it is coming up, and we'll do something, something on the side for that next week. So we won't have a lot of time to get into the Merc stuff. Maybe we can comment on it just for a second. But the following week then, so 2 weeks, we'll get into Merc Commando, and you'll find out. You'll hear. Maybe we'll do a couple hot takes in Discord or Twitter or something over the weekend to see if we really complain and cry about what they do to our beloved classes.
Maybe we can, since we have a couple of weeks to do this, maybe we can talk our ops team into
getting on there and trying something out to actually test this stuff. Because another interesting piece of it is they're also bringing back Marauder Juggernaut. They've called that out. Jackie called that out in her post. I wonder if they've tuned what they originally put on there in their first preview of Marauder Juggernaut, and now are bringing back a retuned version of what they presented initially. That'll be interesting to see as well. We should then have all of the classes, all of the styles available.
It's either that or Marauder Juggernaut is going to be the first class that actually can try out now the second combat style, maybe?
That would be great. I would love to see that happen.
I would love to see either. It sounds like two good things to me, so maybe both.
Right. I would love to see that happen. And I think we need to start testing that soon, as I would hope that
I'm
would happen.
I'm going to go to sleep tonight thinking, it'll be both. And then tomorrow I'll find out.
Get your hopes up super high. Just, wait with bated breath. Hold your breath. And that's the best way to go.
I'm going to take the day off from work.
What you can be assured of that's coming soon is some new events. What events do we have coming up, Seema?
Oh, yeah, events. So the big thing that we already mentioned is Feast of Prosperity, which is going to go from October 12th to November 2nd. But also coexistent on those same dates is going to be Double XP. So we were just talking before we started here. I was saying, why don't we get that like all the way to 7.0? And Max said, no, they have to clean house or something. I don't know. Double XP isn't dirty though, so I don't know.
They don't line up the holidays with the real world. They're close, but they don't line them up, which I'm surprised. Why not? Why not just line them up?
Well, I mean, basically, this is like a fall holiday, so they're like admitting that it lines up. So, yeah. So Double XP, Feast of Prosperity. We had Pirate Incursion. It's going on right now. It'll be over on Tuesday. And let's see what else. Oh, Bounty Contract Week then coming up at the end of the month. So there's that.
Right, and we'll talk about Feast of Prosperity in detail once we get to the second half of the show. Double XP, though, everyone was quite excited about that. That is something to look forward to. October 12th through November 2nd for Double XP as well. So that's a good number of weeks there that you can look forward to that. And Double XP does include Double XP, Valor, Renown, and more. I do not... Yeah, so Renown. Renown's in there.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. Double Renown. That is interesting. Oh no, maybe I do need to...
I mean, maybe I just go on my Merc and do every weekly.
Maybe.
Every weekly, every week.
Interesting. Also in the news, there was a couple bugs this week. If you got hit by it, there was a download issue for a patch. It was mostly for people that were using Steam. If you got hit by or people that weren't using Steam, I thought it was a Steam issue.
Oh, I thought it was only people that were not using Steam. Wow, we're good, huh?
There was a download
'Cause
issue of some kind.
right,
Regardless of whatever it was, if you
I
got hit
didn't
by it, you
experience
basically had to download everything all over again.
right, and that would have been for people who tried to download whatever, and I wouldn't have tried that because I'm on Steam. Yeah, it's
And
the people not using Steam.
okay, so the other side.
Yeah, and that must have been a really frustrating one.
Right. Yeah, that kind of stuff happens. It happens in other games, not as much as it seems to happen in Star Wars, but they've always had little bits of problems here and there, especially with the peer-to-peer download mechanism that they originally implemented, Bitrater. That was always a little bit problematic. In guild and community news, we did have a really good time on Tuesday with our MFN. Those continued to be a strong showing of both attendees and a great schedule of events put together by B. Kavanaugh. I really like how he's been sort of tuning that up lately. We also continue to have a strong showing across all of our ops teams. In fact, I believe if you are geared, if you are tuned up and geared in 306 and extra augments and stuff, Albus on Sunday, I believe on the Republic side. What is it the Republic side? He's putting together a team and needs some people to fill in for a
I'll
10
look
stack
while you're
Dreadtooth. So a 10 stack Dreadtooth, you can increase the level of difficulty of the world boss Dreadtooth in Section X. A 10 stack Dreadtooth is quite serious business and has some significant rewards in the form of an amulet which allows you to summon another of the secret world bosses that we've talked in the past, the Dreadful
It's
Entity.
Imperial side.
So Imperial side, there are a couple open slots. Again, you kind of need to know the fight. You need to know because it's very easy to kill yourself in that fight when you need to stop DPS for the Reflect. And you need to be well geared because it requires everyone to sort of be on point. If you're up for it, there's some opportunity there. Get into our guild Discord, check in with Albus. That's going to be going on Sunday. It'd be real cool. I will be on standby, and if they need fill-ins, I will be in that as well. Shout out to the chat room. Everybody's been helping us out in getting things straight. I had some updates this week, a plethora of updates, both to my Adobe tools, to Twitch. So there's a little bit of side news if you have not heard. There was a big Twitch security issue where source code and data was leaked from Twitch and Amazon ultimately as a company. I recommend everyone change your passwords. The result of changing passwords on Twitch also invalidates stream keys, so I had to double check that and to get that working at the beginning of the show. I had to reset all of my audio channel mappings in Adobe because Adobe likes to just blank out your preferences every time you update. But now I have Adobe Audition 2021 running and everything is working. Chat room helped make sure that that's happening.
We're all fine here.
We're all fine here. How are you? I really appreciate that, and we will talk to all of you after the show. But right now, we're going to talk about a little bit of prosperity.
Wield your prosperity as a weapon.
I didn't have a Feast of Prosperity drop in. I should have recorded one. I guess I could have just taken any sort of random hut voice, and that would have been sufficient.
Right. And you could have said
they're talking about the Feast of Prosperity.
Right.
Because the Feast of Prosperity is coming back. This is the second annual Feast of Prosperity, and it is a hut-based event and hut lore, and there's a story about it. So we're going to talk about all of that. Again, as we do with these segments, it is not a guide. In fact, if you want guides, we'll be referring to 3 guides in particular that we found quite good. MMO Bits, which is
Zam.
Zam. Zam. MMO Bits has a really nice Feast of Prosperity guide, as does SWTOR, as does Volk. So all 3 of those are quite good. SWTOR has a video that goes along with hers. They're all laid out relatively similarly and go through it in detail. We're going to remind everybody, we'll get your brains working a little bit, remind you about the event. We'll talk about some of the tips and tricks that we remember and get you all set because you're going to want to hit the ground running if you want the rewards. And that's probably what we'll lead. But before we get there, I'll just read off the note that showed up to introduce the event. Over the years, the Hutt Cartel's reputation has taken a hit. The once powerful organization no longer instills respect and fear. To restore the cartel's influence, two up-and-coming huts, Gaburga the Abundant and Duba the Magnanimous, are throwing the most lavish charitable banquet in history for the galaxy's underprivileged. And if the cartel happens to advance their business interests during the feast, everyone wins. If Gaburga and Duba can cooperate, they could rocket the cartel back into the upper echelons of the galactic underworld. Could they rocket it back twice? I don't know. That's my aside. But the Hutt's conflicting priorities means they're constantly undermining each other. Each week, a new story mission will unlock to progress the storyline, leading to the climactic choice during the third and final week, Gaburga or Duba. Only one Hutt can win, and the fate of the Feast of Prosperity is at stake. Choose wisely. For players that participated in the event when it previously ran, you'll be able to immediately jump into the daily missions and mini-games. If this will be your first time experiencing the event, each week a story mission will unlock, progressing the conflict between Gaburga and Duba. And then they list out featured rewards, and two are listed so far, well, technically 3, with the word new next to them. So these are ones that we haven't seen before. Feast Trader's Armor Set, Roast Skyke Belly, and Feast of Prosperity Poster Decoration. So it sounds like 2 decos and an armor set at least are going to be new. Then they list a bunch of other stuff, and then ... and more. So who knows? Who knows what that means? It would be helpful if you told us what "and more" means.
I want to get myself a hairless mudhorn and also a feast ingredient transport mount.
Well, there. So that's how we're going to kick this off. So you're right that the reason you would do this is for fun, because it's the real reward is the friends we met along the way, Seema.
Right. That's right.
But besides that, first, okay, the thing about world peace and solving world hunger. Then I want some decos and I want a mount.
Right.
That's a Steve Martin reference. Yeah. So talk about the rewards that. Did you get any rewards last time? I don't remember if I got any rewards. I have a food launcher.
I think I got the food launcher. Yeah.
So I think I got the food launcher. I don't think I did get. So I looked. I don't think I bought all of the things I needed to. You can always go typically to the Cartel Bazaar, and there are vendors there to use your currency, which is a legacy-bound currency, which is useful. That's good to know, and we'll get to why shortly as well. But you can use that currency, legacy-bound, to buy rewards. The rewards are bound to the character, typically, in this case. They're not legacy-bound rewards, so that isn't as useful. But right. I looked at my currency tab, and I noticed I had 6,000 out of 10,000 Feast of Prosperity tokens sitting around. So apparently I earned a bunch. I have 6,500 out of 10,000. I earned a bunch, but didn't spend very many, apparently, last time. But yeah, tons of rewards. So you mentioned the what is it? The hairless little Mudhorn, which is a reference. Everyone know that reference?
Yes.
That is
Mandalorian.
Where's my button?
This is the way.
There we go. This is the way.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Would you agree?
There we go. All right, so there's the Hairless Mudhorn. Hairless Mudhorn is the Mandalorian reference. Remember, he fights the big Mudhorn, and Baby Yoda saves him because he gets his butt kicked by the Mudhorn. Then it becomes his logo that gets etched into his armor. It becomes his what did the armor call it? His icon, his sigil.
What did she call it?
I think she said. I think it's the sigil. It is his sigil. So the Mudhorn is for his clan, which is Yoda and the Mando are a clan, and it's their sigil. But the Mudhorn, the baby Mudhorn, is of course pretty ridiculously cute, as those kinds of things are. And it's one of 2 pets that you can possibly get. The other pet is the Earthen Thurb, which is kind of like a frog-like thing with two sets of eyes. That is amusing. Also, the ever popular chef hat, the feast preparation hat. You can get one of those. I think a lot of people were quite eager to make sure that they got that. Then there's a festival attire, which has a bunch of like food and cooking implements that hangs off of your back, which is kind of amusing. There's some extra emotes: feel the groove, toast of prosperity, overeat. I think you actually puke, don't you? Is this? Let's see.
I would be shocked if you did not actually puke.
No, you're just holding your stomach. This one I kind of want, the meditative satiation regen toy. The feast ingredient transport, which is one of those load lifter kind of transports with a bunch of food stuff on the back. That's kind of cool. The Feast of Prosperity food launcher. The reusable, there's single use for 150 tokens, and then 7,500 is the infinite use one. When you launch a food bomb at a person, chunks of what looks like loose salad.
They do look like loose salad. Yes.
Salad, like you dumped somebody's salad on them, and it sort of floats around your character and falls off of whoever you shot it at. There it is. You can see the salad leaves, and you get the messy debuff on you. And then the overstuffed food sack.
The buff.
Which is a backpack that you wear and food falls out of it.
Oh, things follow.
bunch of food falling out of it. And then there's 2 tacticals, and both MMO Zamzam and SWTOR, I noticed in their guides, commented on these in detail. There's 2 tacticals. One is called Enhanced Seasoning for New Cooks and Improved Axle Grease. The enhanced season, and both of these affect your ability to do the dailies for Feast of Prosperity. So the Enhanced Seasoning for New Cooks says, as you equip it, increases rewards earned from the Feast of Prosperity cooking challenge. Barely worth it. It's I think you need to do the dailies something like 50 to 70 times to make back the number of tokens that you spend to buy it. So I guess if you're going for the long haul and planning on doing the Feast of Prosperity for the next 10 years, then it's maybe it's worth it. And the second one was, again, the improved axle grease increases rewards earned from the Feast of Prosperity Cantina Dash event. That's another one of the dailies.
So it doesn't even, it's only for one mission each, so you'd have to buy both of them.
Yes.
Which double doesn't,
yeah,
it
it's
doesn't,
not like
they definitely do not pay for themselves.
Right. You have to run that mission 50 to 70 times. It's not like everything. It's not like the thing, like the daily ingredients. It's not like the world bus.
Right.
It's only, or like the weekly. I mean, if it was like 10% on across the board, that would probably pay for itself before too long. It could probably pay for itself in one event. This will never pay for itself. Do not buy them. And then this will probably change, but you also get conquest points. That's another reason to be doing this. The conquest points, we don't know what they're going to be this year, though, because conquest has changed to some degree since then. I'll be interested to see what they do with conquest points. I bet they would do something around it. I bet it'll come up as a conquest objective. But I don't know. So what did you say you're going to get, Seema? You're going to get the Mudhorn?
The mudless, yeah, the Mudhorn, the hairless Mudhorn, and the mount. But now I think also probably the emotes.
Yes, the toast. I think we need the. I'm pretty sure I bought the. There was another deco last year. I don't see it on this list, but it's the golden refreshment droid. Why is it not in their list? Let me look at SWTORista's list, because it shows up here when the event starts. There's this refreshment droid that wanders around, and it was a cool version of the refreshment droid that had drinks. It had cocktails. It would wander around and provide you cocktails. Am I going crazy? No, here's a couple more in SWTORista's guide. Oh, there you can get the disguised terminals. The disguised terminal that turns you into the Astromech that you use during the serving the tables mission. And then another one that turns you into the Wookiee chef with the Wookiee hat on. You get the Feast of Prosperity attendee deco. I'm pretty sure. Here it is. Yes, I know I got this one. So maybe this is the only thing I bought. The only thing I spent money on was this deco. The Refreshments Probe, which...
Oh, it's a deco, yeah.
It's a deco that carries around a tray. It's a floating droid that carries around a tray of cocktails. For some reason, I thought that was really important. You can get an Ugnaught deco. Oh, here's a couple decos, Seema, that we could get. And I think I might have gotten some of these last year as well. So here's Braised Vel Slug, and it comes with the pedestal, and it's like laid out on there. The Exotic Metally Delight. So the Roast Skyke Belly that they're adding this year, I bet it's just going to show up as another version of one of these. That makes sense.
Look at those eggs.
Delicious. I liked the glowing mugs. That's another thing I really wanted. I just wanted a set of the mugs. But it comes on the pedestal with that set of mugs. I think I might have gotten one or two of those just because I liked the glowing mugs. I like emissive textures. That's an emission texture, the glowing textures. So that's something I like. All right, let's talk about the event a little bit. Do you remember the story, Seema? Tell me a story. Do you remember the story? I kind of remember. I pretty much remember. We fought about the story last year.
Yeah.
We had a couple fights along the way.
We did.
I was right, and if I remember, you were wrong. Was that a diplomatic way to say that?
The way I remember it is you believe I was wrong.
Well, you have your point of view, and from a certain point of view, it could be correct, but the whole idea is there's two huts, and one is, okay, again, this is my point of view, and if you read the text, it seems to be the point of view that they're putting forth, but there could be subtext, and there could be stuff going on behind the scenes, but one of them's trying to do the right thing, and one of them is trying to do the wrong thing, which is use this as a profit-making enterprise, which is Gaburga and Duba. Which is the good one? The good one was Duba, I think, right? Which was the magnanimous? So the two huts, Gaburga the abundant and Duba the magnanimous. Yeah, so Duba is the good one. Duba keeps fighting back against Gaburga because Gaburga keeps trying to get donations from rich people and pocket those donations and not actually provide any food for the underprivileged. And Duba is like saving people and rescuing like one of the chefs and sends you out to do these missions to help out. You get to pick who you're going to back and support, who ultimately gets control over the Feast of Prosperity in the future as the story element by the end of the story. Sorry, I guess this is a little bit spoilery, but you get to see what happens along the way. For the people that haven't done it, I guess I just spoiled everything. Spoilers.
Well, you may want to do it multiple times anyway, because
and you're gonna have to see what happens and figure, because there's a couple things that
there's
that
some
come out in
variations,
different ways as well. But yeah, so each week the story evolves. I think it's 3 weeks, correct? I believe it's 3 weeks.
Yes, it's 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
So each weekly reset on Tuesday, more of the story evolves. You go back and you talk to the huts again, and you're gonna have to talk to both of them, and you start to read between the lines and see what's going on. And they're both asking you to do different story missions. That's an interesting part of how the whole event evolved. I like that. I liked how that evolved. I like the weekly evolution. I think that is positive. I know it, I don't like it when TV shows do a weekly episode, one episode a week for whatever reason, but I like when video games do it because we're in this for the long haul, right? If you didn't do it like where it evolved that week, all of the hardcore people would do it within the first hour of the first day, and it would be done, which is fine. and then they could get it all done, and maybe they would like that. They would like to just be done. But I've seen a couple games do this. It's No Man's Sky, for example, when they're doing their expeditions. They had one kind of expedition that evolved over a number of weeks, and the whole community had to get together to progress it toward the next week. And they had another kind of expedition that, here's all the objectives, get it done as quick as you can, or at your own pace, quote unquote, at your own pace. And that second kind I did in a day, and it was, I ground it out. It took me like 10 hours or whatever, but I like raced all the way through it and I got it all done. The other kind was better and more fulfilling because it evolved, and you got to wait to see what happened, and everybody was working together, and you tuned in, and the reward was even better for that other one, even though it was smaller and less things to do and you had to wait. It had a better, it's sort of a better payoff as a result. So this where it's only a few weeks and it evolves, I like it. Let's support that and give the thumbs up so that BioWare does that more often.
I'm looking forward to the World Boss Quest because I didn't do this a lot last year, but I want to do it this year. If you play during a busy time, there's just groups on the planets with the world bosses forming up every few minutes, and to me that's a fun thing to do. Group up with a bunch of people that you don't know, and just kill a world boss.
That is,
and then you hear people's
well.
reactions that you're not used to, and it's it's just a happy different thing.
And everybody comes together, and it turns. That's another way of turning it into like a community event, and not just me like grinding out a thing and like doing one mission, clicking a thing over and over and over again and getting done.
And they made the world bosses, in case you don't, if you're listening to this and you don't realize, but they made the world bosses that are affected by Feast of Prosperity on a really quick respawn timer.
Right. So this is the Primal Destroyer, Trapjaw on Tatooine, Snowblind on Hoth, Lucky. Lucky is on a fast respawn time because you used to have to be up all night to get Lucky.
Oh my God.
From time to time. I went back.
Shake my head.
SMH, my dudes. SMH. That's what Seema says. Every day, Seema says SMH. I was actually refreshing my memory by watching part of our episode 357 or whatever it was back when we did this last year. We talked about the Feast of Prosperity, and I made that joke in that episode. So recycling the
several times
the dad
between
jokes, the puns. That's what I do. Yeah, I do it all the time. That's true. I never miss an opportunity to make that joke.
Every time we go kill,
and I will
Corellia.
ensure we engineer the conversation in such a way, just as I did just now with the Elon Musk, which I've said about 50 times since they announced Elam as a planet. Anyway, you mentioned doing world boss kills because that's one of the things you need to do to get your tokens, right? So talk about that. What else do you like doing, Seema?
Well, there's like 3 types of missions. One is the World Quest mission. One is one where you become a little astromech droid that's serving food, and you have to go and pick up food and take it to tables. And you have to do it 25 times. And then there's on the easy mode, there's a hard mode too. And then there's a third type, which is what is the third type?
Ingredients, just the ingredients laying around, or killing the not vine cats, but the smiley. What are the smiley cats? And you have to get their tongues. Nexu. You have to kill some Nexu and get their tongues. I was also listening to last year's podcast, and you had a real hang up with killing Nexu to get their tongues. You did not like that. You were not happy about having to do that.
I do not like that. Although I'm kind of at war with myself on that, because I like that kind of mission better than the Astromech mission.
Right.
just in terms of how to spend my time. But
Because it's an
I don't know.
easy, it's like a coffee and contemplation ideal
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Go pick it
And the
up.
other one, I have to like grab my mouse like a claw and
Right.
be fast,
Right.
and it's like also tedious.
So there's every day you can get the ingredient, and if you do 3, you get like a weekly for it. Then there's the world bosses. Every day is a different world boss. You pick it up, and so this place where we're standing on Nar Shaddaa, it's on the upstairs of the promenade of Nar Shaddaa. This is where it's going to end up. So you can come here right now. It's on the behind the gold hut statue. You can see the neon sign for the logo. It's got a hut's face up there, and the 2 hut chairs are lined up here. This is where it's going to show up on Tuesday. So you come here. This is where you pick up your weeklies and you pick up your dailies. If you've already done the story, then you'll get it all unlocked. If you haven't done the story yet, then you need to talk to the huts and start the story to get things unlocked. But yes, you get the ingredient quest where you just like go, and those are really fast. You either go pick up things off the ground or kill a couple things, you get the ingredients. For the daily ingredient, the regular ingredients. The world boss ingredients, you need to go kill a world boss, but people are grouping up. The world bosses spawn over and over and over again. Primal Destroyer, for example, will spawn before his corpse disappears off the ground. It's already respawned. So no problem getting those done too. It's a nice thing for people to just group up and get done. Then there's the challenge ones. The challenge ones were built brand new for the event. The challenge ones happen here in this area. And one of them, as Sima was saying, it was you get to turn into an astromech and serve tables. So the idea there is you get this little, and let me see a picture of it here off a Zamzam site. You get a little you turn into an astromech, and there's 5 serving stations. Each of the serving stations has a shape and a color associated with it, and a picture of the food. So the red, the yellow, the green, the blue, and the purple. And then there's a room full of tables, right? So the challenge is for you to go up and pick up the food off the counter, and you can pick up between 1 and 4 on your little tray, and then serve it to the tables that are around the room, where there's a big flashing icon above it with the color. You look at the little icon, the color and the shape is what you're serving, not the big green circle around it, because that tells you how much time is left. What you're trying to do there is bring the dishes to the table that ask for that dish and get them all done in enough time. And there's an easy mode and a hard mode. Did you do the easy mode versus hard? Did you do the hard modes of these?
No,
last year?
I didn't. I did not like the easy modes enough to try to get better at them.
Did you like it with a mouse? Did you like it in a house?
Oh my god!
Did you serve green eggs and
Don't
ham?
talk to me about mice.
Oh yes, there's join us for the post show if you want to hear a story from Seema. Remind Seema in post show to talk about that.
But I want to say what they did with these things here is they tried to give clues so that people who are colorblind could also do this quest.
Yes.
So like they do have color, but you can just look at the shape and the food, and the outside, which gives you tells you how much time is left. So green means you have more time, yellow less, red less. But also it shows it in quarters.
Yes. Here's the countdown. You have all 4 quarters are filled in, then there's only 3 filled in, only 2 filled in, and only 1 filled in. They did a nice job with at least 1 layer better of accessibility in putting this quest together, which was kind of nice. But this is the Astromech. There's an easy mode and a hard mode. The easy mode is you just deploy 25 servings. The hard mode, you do 5 rounds of 25, and it gets a lot, the time gets a lot tighter. If you're picking up dishes, you can pick up to 4 dishes at a time and bring them to tables. Each extra dish you pick up, though, makes you move slower. There's a little bit of strategy involved. Usually you're going to do 2 dishes at most. You have a waste bin to drop off a dish if you picked one up on accident that's wrong. So you can play with it and you can do some strategy. There is an opportunity to get some hidden achievements associated with some of these as well. You're going to want to look those up in the guides if you want to do it without making any mistakes by delivering dishes wrong to any tables, for example. That's an achievement. There's a bunch of things like that to look into. I think there's 3 hidden achievements across the various events that you want to check out. So that's one. Then there's the second event. Do you want to explain the second new challenge, new mission?
Oh, that's right, the
Remember
cooking
that one?
ingredients. So, yes, I'll explain it in a very precise and detailed way. So you go in the kitchen and you have to pick up ingredients and put them places, and they are in the easy mode, which is the only one that I did. It's obvious they're lit up like a quest item normally would be, and then you have to put them on the stove or in a pot, and
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I think there's 3 or 4 places you put the things, and there's like 15 things you could potentially be picking up, 15 different ingredients spread around the kitchen. Yeah, in the story mode, they glow blue, and the place you put it glows blue. It'll say, hey, you need to put the bell fruit on the grill, and the bell fruit is lit up here blue, and you pick up the bell fruit, and you can like stand where you're at. You get an extra action button to target to throw it on the grill. In the hard mode, nothing lights up, nothing glows. So it says
You just have to know everything.
you have to know what a bell fruit is. You have to know where the bell fruit is laying around this relatively big, well drawn. I like the art. I like the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know where the bell fruit is, pick it up,
And
and put it in place.
I mean, I give them credit on this one too, because it's different to me anyway from anything that's come before. Like the Astromech in the kitchen thing is kind of similar to other times we've had to turn into Astromechs and scurry around and do stuff.
Right.
But this one I've seen it similar things in other MMOs, but this is like the first time for a SWTOR for me.
At the end, I never figured out if there was a specific if what the droid says at the end is related to how well you put it together, because I think you get to pick a random seasoning at the end that doesn't matter, but the droid kind of just says
Oh yeah,
he's merely adequate, or
he's the expediter.
oh, here, seasonings. Once you've completed a dish, you get the option to add seasonings to your dish. In cooking mode, it does not matter which seasonings you use. In challenge mode, you have to use specific seasonings, and it doesn't tell you which ones, but instead gives you clues. So I think text will show up on the screen that says you're going to need to add a bit of heat, or it's going to need to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you need to
Like
add
this,
the right seasoning.
This
to it.
concoction needs a little more, this or a little more that.
Great.
It's that style of quest.
Okay, I thought that was you pick one, and then the droid decides whether it was tasty enough or not. But I guess not.
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't.
I think
Maybe I
think
will
whatever the
try it
droid
this
said
year.
is merely flavor text. I don't think the droid has anything to do with it. But it's a chef droid wearing a chef hat, so that's cool. Hard mode, easy mode, challenges, hidden achievements, get lots of tokens associated with them. Recommended if you're really trying to get quite a bit of tokens that you can do the dailies and weeklies on multiple characters. Remember, the currency is a legacy bound currency. So if you have a whole cadre of characters, I can bring up my inventory here. In your legacy tab is where you'll find, it's called prosperity. I think it's what it called, prosperity tokens. Something. Yeah, prosperity token. So you'll want to figure out where you want to buy the decorations. Well, the decorations will be legacy bound, so that's nice. The mount will not be legacy bound. I think that'll be specific to a particular character, and some of the emotes and toys will be specific to a character. And the pets probably too. So you got to figure out where you want those to be unlocked for what character. But if you know, you can still use all the rest of your characters to grab extra tokens. do the dailies, do the weekly. The weeklies in particular give you lots and lots of tokens. So that's a great technique for getting a whole bunch of tokens to get what you want, funnel those into your legacy tab, and then go to your main character that you want the stuff on and unlock it there. And that's how Seema's going to get her load lifter with the food on it and her hairless mudhorn.
That's right.
All right.
So apparently there are a lot of tokens to be gotten for these missions. You can get tens of thousands of tokens. So you have to sort of plan and make sure you spend them because they max out at 10,000. And you have to plan, like Max said, so you get your item on the right character.
Right. And you know how we like to plan with spreadsheets. So if somebody's got a good spreadsheet, I probably have a spreadsheet tab that laid some of this out somewhere. Make your spreadsheet, get it all laid out. You'll be ready for Tuesday. Anything else that you want to tell everyone, Seema, to be ready for Tuesday for the Feast of Prosperity?
Well, be ready for double XP also.
Is that starting Tuesday? It is.
Yeah, 10, 12 to 11 too. Yeah.
It's starting Tuesday too. All right. Go
Oh,
back.
there is one thing I said, a tip from Sotorista. There, you get like 1,000 tokens for doing that one-time story in the beginning. So she recommends, if you enjoy doing that, just do it on, as many characters as you want to. Don't skip it.
Right.
I don't know if you
True.
can skip it, actually. But anyway, don't skip it.
Don't skip it. Don't do it. Or do it. Do the story mission. Do it. There we go. So 2 big things coming up on Tuesday. Tomorrow, potentially the PTS will go live with Commando Mercenary. Go ahead and send us the feedback and tweets, rubbing it in, how they're going to wreck our class. And the big new ability for us at level 80 is going to be a 3rd rocket out. You know what's going to happen. Make sure you're sending us those notes and giving us the feedback, because we dismissed the changes to your classes. You can do the same thing to ours. And I think with that, we are ready to move on and finish out episode 399. So EPC 399 is ready to jump out an airlock. Our last episode in the 300s.
Wow.
For podcast links, follow me on Twitter at MaxTheGray, and you'll see when we go live. You told me in the pre-show, Seema, to get a tweet out, and I did not do it in the pre-show. I did it while you were talking about what you did this week. I remembered.
Oh, that's why
I
you
did
weren't
get one
paying
out,
attention.
though.
Okay, good.
Follow me on Twitter, and when I remember, I will post when our show is going live, and when we get it published out on the feeds, I always post that because that's part of my publishing process. And if you know anybody that should be playing the game with us, that's why we do this show. Tell them to check us out. They can find our podcast at newoverlords.com, at YouTube/newoverlords, twitch.tv/newoverlords. Like, subscribe, all those things, so that we know that people are watching in those channels. And you can find our guild information, which is even more important, at aie-guild.org. Our guild Discord is in the upper right, and you can check in there in the SWTOR channel. We're on Starforge. We can get you a guild invite on the Republic or the Imperial side. We would love to have you. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.